Good.
Okay, we're live.
We are live. Yay! Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have had the most seamless experience setting this up. There was no stress at all. I am being joined, this is Tamara Lackey, and I'm being joined by Matt Kloskowski, and we are doing this Google Plus Hangout about all things travel. Want to say hi, Matt?
Hi, Tamara and everybody out there.
Hello!
Hi, my huge hand.
And we also have Lauren joining us, but I think she might have a stand-in double as a photograph down there while she
Hello,
works.
guys.
Lauren from Autorama, who's going to be helping us out with a lot of the behind-the-scenes everything. Correct?
Correcto.
It's amazing. Your mouth doesn't move at all when you do that.
I know how you do that.
And Danielle, who is kind of half here and half floating away, also from Autorama. So, yeah, we're going to make this a really informal yet informative discussion on all things related to travel photography, landscape, gear, settings, lighting, and take your questions and answer them as best we can. So, Matt, let's start with you. You are an experienced travel photographer and landscape photographer. Tell us a little bit about that for those who may not know the wonders of Matt.
So I don't know.
You've been shooting travel photography for a while, right?
Yeah, so I always kind of, you know what I classify? I kind of classify it as like outdoor.
Yeah, yeah.
Outdoor photography is kind of, you know, so I travel, and you know, I think I'm drawn to landscapes, but I also kind of like, you know, city architecture, anything of the like. So whenever I do travel, those are the things that kind of grab me, or the buildings, the cityscapes, anything like that. You know, it's I kind of like the big vast scenes of things. So I guess if you were to call it, if I had to kind of put it into any specific area, that would be what it is. But I probably focus more on the landscape aspect of it, where you know, to just get outside of the city and to get into some of those different places and get some nice shots.
Yeah, very nice shots. I think we're going to be showing a lot of them today. And Matt is, of course, one of the head honchos over at Kelby One.
Oh, head honcho. I like that.
Right?
I'll have you introduce me anytime. No,
yeah.
Yeah. So my official title is Director of Education. So I work full time at Kelby One, and direct the education. So I work very close. We have a great team here, a content team that kind of puts a lot of stuff together. So I work close with everybody here, with Scott and all the people to not only teach. I mean, I obviously do a lot of teaching here, but I also work with everybody to help get other people to come inside and do teaching for us as well. So
yes, you've assisted me.
That's how we met.
Oh, no. Is it? Yeah, I guess that's true. I always think it was like a bar in Vegas, but that sounds terrible.
No, it was WPPI like 2 years ago.
Vegas.
It was Vegas.
It actually is a coffee shop.
It was right across from the Starbucks.
Yeah. And then and you just finished filming another program where you went out to Mount Rainier, right?
Yeah, so I did 2 classes out there. I went out to Mount Rainier National Park, which is in Washington State. And I did a landscape photography class, and it's like the perfect place to do a class because it's got everything. It's got waterfall, huge, obviously the huge Mount Rainier, waterfalls, mountains, lakes, streams, rivers, clouds, wildflowers were blooming because it's so high up that in early August that's like the only time that like flowers can grow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why that's the season for it, because I was there in June. I was there like June 16th last year. All the places that I went to this early August were still iced over. Like all the lakes that I went and photographed there, they were still covered in ice and snow. Just like 6 weeks earlier than I was there this year. So so I did a landscape photography class there, and then in Seattle I did a class on photographing cityscapes.
Got it. And you said you like both. It's not like you have a preference per se. It's outdoors.
I mean, I'd say landscape. Outdoors, but I'd say landscape is kind of like what I like the most. But I love the other stuff too. I like it all. I like it.
It's funny because like I have professionally, in terms of my focus, my career, it's been portraits for a dozen years. But in that time, I photographed a lot of travel because I travel a lot. And so I have all these photographs I've amassed from all over the world for the last few years, but it wasn't until, honestly, in the last year, and most specifically this past summer, that I was so into it.
Yeah.
That I wasn't just like, yeah.
I followed you. I saw it. I kind of saw a transition taking place.
Didn't you, though? Yeah, it felt that way. I was actually, for the first time ever, instead of just, I want to get a really good, beautiful image, and that's cool, I felt like the shift where I was pulled into it. Like I was excited, and I was trying to figure out the best spot and the best time and all that sort of stuff. And that's never been the case for me before. I used to joke that I'm drawn to a lot of things, but I'm not really drawn to landscape. I'm not really drawn to photographing newborns, and and I don't even know exactly where that shift happened, but I got super excited about it.
A lot of people are like, if there's not a person in it, I don't even bring my camera out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm kind of the opposite. If there's a person there, I put my I'm either moving them out of the way, I'm telling them to get down, or if they're not adding to the photo to like show scale or something like that. Like get away, or I'm waiting, or I clone them out in Photoshop.
That is almost then make them down. That is almost exactly what happened. I wonder. Okay, I'm a little nervous here. I'm going to check the screen share and pull up an image. We're testing this out for the first time. But that, if anybody here saw the photograph that Adorama used to advertise this 3-day festival of events, that's the exact experience I had where I was photographing the Tower Bridge in London and setting up this really cool structure and trying to set it up so that, whenever you're shooting from an angle with architecture, you've got to be really careful, and, I'm kind of putting all this effort in. And then my youngest daughter wanders into the scene, and my immediate feeling is like, did you get out of my shot? Which is ironic because I'm always pulling, I'm always photographing children. And but it wasn't until she was like completely ignoring me, doing her thing, and I was just going to wait till she was done, that I looked at the viewfinder. I'm like, oh, it's such a cool shot. Like I actually, kind of the opposite. Like I ended up loving it. Let me just pull it up in case it's not obvious. All right. Okay. Hopefully that pulled up okay, right?
It's black.
Oh,
there we go.
It's coming up. Okay, so let me pull in the shot that I want to show you guys.
It looks like Windows.
I know, that's actually my shot, but let's see if we can't do this easily. I know somebody told me when I posted this on social media that I shot this in the south of France. I had a number of people saying, isn't that a Windows thing? Like,
yeah, it looks like it.
That's actually the photograph I took. It's kind of funny. So, wait, you talk, Matt, while I pull this up.
So it's interesting. I have a random story. So I watched a interview from the guy who took that wallpaper, that famous wallpaper that lived for so long on Windows.
Yeah.
And it was pretty interesting to hear the story behind him just driving down this road one day. Number one, you'd never think it was where he took it, And a lot of people think where he took it is actually it's in the wrong place. A lot of people think he took it in the Palouse region of Washington State, which has got these big rolling green fields, and he didn't. I think it was still in Washington though, but he was just kind of driving down the road one day, and pulled over and just saw that scene and grabbed a shot of it, and it's like to think that I mean, they say that's one of the most seen images in the entire of all time. Is that one wallpaper in Windows. Pretty interesting.
That would actually be a really cool, gosh, for some reason it's not opening. I'm going to leave, that's going to be a suspenseful story.
I like the shot that's on screen now.
Oh, thank you. That's actually, that's walking through Paris. That's over the River Seine. Hold on, let me make it full screen. That is, basically we were on the only tour of the whole couple months of travel we did was supposed to be a ghost and vampire tour, and it ended up being all it was this tour where this guy walked through and told you about the most grisly, disgusting, detailed murders ever.
Oh, nice.
And we were walking along, and I saw this scene. I was waiting for the light to shift, and he kept going, and I'm like, I'm okay to let him keep going. I'd rather get this shot. But yeah, this is the sunset coming down in Paris. Let me pull that off. I'm going to come back to that in a second. So yeah, but the idea of the for some reason when I'm pulling in that other image, it's just saying that it can't do it. So I think I've got to shut down the screen share, pull it up, and then open it again.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. But the idea of people in the shot. So again, I'm really focused on portraits. I'm getting super excited about travel, and I'm finding that the most interesting thing to me is the blend, but not necessarily purposefully, like the story I just said about the photograph I can't show you right now, which I will in a second.
Can you open Photoshop?
For some reason, it's not popping up in Photoshop. I think I had to just take it off screen share and make it work. I don't know. Can you do that easily? This is what we were practicing earlier that we were struggling with a little bit. I think it's, I don't know. Got to figure that out. Lauren, any chance that you have it and you can pop it up?
Sorry, I was on mute. Let me see.
Maybe you can do it, and then I'll be able to get the other ones. But for some reason, that just
Will it work for me to pop things up even if my camera is not working is the question.
Well, I think if you do screen share, it should.
Yeah, let's see. So exactly which image are you looking for?
It's the Tower Bridge. It's the one that you guys used for the ad, actually.
Ah.
That was the one where she wandered in.
Let me see.
So I see some questions coming in.
Yes, we have questions. Do you want me to roll off the first one?
Yeah, let's roll it.
All right. Here is a good first one to kick it off. What kind of lenses do you recommend for travel photography?
You want to start out? I know I have my specifics.
All right, so I mean, I'll start off because so if there's one thing like I go absolutely minimal on, it's lenses for travel photography. So I have a 28 to 300, those 18 to 200s. To me, those are like the perfect lenses for travel because they go wide and they go long, and you're not changing lenses. And you know what I learned, and I think I learned this. I went to Paris years ago. I think I learned that whatever lens you have on when you're traveling is not the lens you'll want to use.
Yeah, you're like, if only I had.
Yeah, I mean, the second you put a longer lens on is going to be the second you're somewhere and you see a beautiful wide scene that you want to capture. And the second you put that wide lens on is going to be the time where you want the longer one. So,
or you're somewhere where you really want to get in close and you're just like,
Yeah. So I try to keep it for just travel purposes. Like if I'm going to go to Paris and walk around Paris, or I'm going to go to somewhere and just walk around, that's going to be the lenses. I don't know if anybody has landscape lens questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I don't want to dive into there if nobody really cares. But
what was the two again? It was because they're different than mine. I would have thought we'd have similar ones.
Nikon makes a 28 to 300 for full frame, and then they make an 18 to 200 for the crop sensors.
Right.
So, and I know Canon has a bigger lens that does something close to 28 to 300. It's a lot bigger though. But I think Tamron makes a nice wide to zoom lens. I forget the exact dimensions that it goes, but again, it's in that 18 to 28 to 2 to 300 range. But Tamron makes a really nice one.
Interesting. But how heavy are those?
They are about the size of a 24 to 70.
Interesting. Okay. So I've never shot with either of those. I have the two I brought were the 14 to 24 f2.8 and then the 24 to 70 f2.8. And you're right. The amount of times I wish I had my 70-200 just for a minute. I definitely had that feeling.
And that's a hard lens to take, though. I mean, it's so big and heavy. You don't want to bring it anywhere. And
some of the questions I had prior to this starting were asking about packing for trips. And I think everyone's got their different theories, but it sounds like you are kind of on the same page I am, which is that I'm really interested in the movement and the travel and getting to the spots and the experience of what I'm doing, and then I want to photograph it well. But I will absolutely make the concession of not having all the gear, so the rest of the experience is better.
Yeah.
Like I don't want the whole thing to be pack mule.
Yeah, no, it's not at all. And I'll bring a lot of stuff with me sometimes, but I don't necessarily use it all. Like I'll bring a bag, whether it's going to be a backpack, usually a small rolling bag. I use like one of the smaller think tank bags. I don't need a monster bag. But what I do is I pack a small backpack in my luggage, and then I fill it full of things so it's not just taking up space in my luggage, but that's generally what I'm going to go out and about with.
Yeah.
If I'm traveling there, I'll usually have some type of a different camera bag that just makes it easier to get on. I hate taking backpacks on a plane and through an airport just because it's just a pain.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I have a rolling bag, I'd rather take that. Even if I don't fill the rolling bag, I'd rather take the rolling bag just because it moves through the airport so much easier.
Right, and so like when we just kicked off this last trip, we were gone for almost 2 months. I started out with doing a portrait workshop in London, and I had all my gear. So I had the D4, the D800, about 7 of the Nikon lenses, and then but as soon as the work, because I was showing to have low light and backlit, and I want to be able to show all these action and portrait, etc. But then afterwards, I packed up everything. Actually, Sarah, my studio manager, packed up everything, and we mailed everything back except for the D800, the 24-70, and the 14 to 24 2.8 lens. And it wasn't easy because I'm like, I know at some point I'm going to want those, but I didn't want to carry them.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: does Nikon? I know Canon has a 24 to like 110, 105, 120.
24 to 105.
Yeah. Does Nikon have something similar?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure.
Hold on a second.
I know.
Look it up.
They didn't put the list of lenses in my Nikon Ambassador kit. I don't have.
Yeah, Nikon 24 to 120. So I've taken the Canon 24 to whatever it is, 105, and that's a good lens too. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of people use that for portraits too.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
It just gets you a little bit further out than the 24 to 70.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what? Even with the 14 to 24, I found eventually I wasn't hardly ever using it at 14.
That's why I got rid of my 14 and 24.
Interesting.
Because there's very, very few things I want to shoot at 14 millimeter. I mean, it's just it minimalizes everything in the photo, and that usually goes against whatever I want to do. For a landscape that's got a really great foreground object of some sort. But I changed from that to the 16 to 35, and I still barely shoot it at 16. The 24 to 70 is really like my go-to landscape lens, but the 14 just minimalizes everything in the photo, and it makes it so small that I found I just wasn't using it as much. And it's such a big lens to carry around.
Yeah, I did figure out how to get my thing working, although that one image I can't yet. But let me show you the one. I think the one shot that I really wanted to make sure I used it at the 14 was this one. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
That one, but with this image, this was in Camden Town, London. The amount of extraordinary patience of waiting for all the humans to be gone from this shot for a second was ridiculous. But I finally got an image. It's basically like shooting right down Manhattan. It's really hard to get an uncluttered shot. But I was struck, obviously, by the brightness of the colors and all the flowers everywhere. But I really wanted to shoot this at a little bit more of an extreme wide angle because of the quirkiness of that whole area. And so in this case, I felt like it really worked.
Yeah.
But most of the time, no. But in this case, I would have been pretty bummed to not have been able to go wider.
Yep, I can say I definitely that's a good photo for a wide lens.
Yeah, I'm glad you approve. So Lauren, I'm guessing you weren't able to pull that image up, huh?
I have it actually. I was just waiting for the.
Go ahead. All right. So this is the image I was talking about earlier when I said that my daughter wandered into the scene. I was like, get out. Can you go ahead and pull it up?
Yeah, one sec.
Is anybody a Google Plus expert yet? There's got to be a lot of people Google Hangout.
I'm definitely not. That's for sure. Is it up?
Yeah. Okay. You got to just go big.
Go big. Go big.
There it is. Yay! I see it. So could you see that, Matt?
I did see it. I love it.
Oh, there it's popping in. Okay. So yeah, that's the exact shot where the shot without her in it, I think, would have been weaker.
No, she makes the shot.
Yeah, exactly, and it wasn't intended. And I love that she had her hood up at that moment because I think it works better, just so like cool and trendy. And she's wearing her camo pants. The whole thing worked, and it was all just a happy accident. Actually, this was probably close to like a 18 millimeter focal length. Now that I think about it, something like that. All right, that works, Lauren. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
So do we have other questions?
Yes, we do. Let me just get my screen back here. Okay.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, look at my beautiful photo.
It is a really nice photo, actually.
Oh, thanks.
Danielle, you're still there, right?
Oh, she's there.
Can we call it? Danielle's about to have a baby like any second. Like literally, she's a week away.
Yeah.
We were hoping that the Google
Hangout for signing on.
What?
If anyone's a doctor, thanks for signing on.
That is good.
Okay, guys, ready for the next question?
Yes.
Ready.
All right, from Sam. When traveling, do you find yourself taking most of your pictures or best pictures at certain times of the day, say early morning or late afternoon?
I'll
let you start, Tamara.
Sure, yeah. So I find that early morning and late in the day are usually the better photographs, especially if you're shooting outdoor and you are concerned about, obviously, the sky and the shadows, the harsh looks, and all that sort of stuff. So in that respect, I've always done my shoots those times of day, and I think I was a little bit more just trained to do that, so that made a lot of sense. And obviously you're just getting such cooler lighting when you're going to these very interesting places. So the image I just showed in Paris, obviously that image wouldn't have been anything as interesting at high noon, Another image I can show that when I photographed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, just walking through the streets, and there's incredible amount of construction going on in Ethiopia right now. I mean, honestly, 50% of the city is under construction. Additional 50% is being built. It's pretty extraordinary. And so walking through in dusk as you're kind of watching all these workers on the roof, this is another example where the image wouldn't be this image. Is this up? Can you see that?
It's black.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, so, an image like this, for instance, it would just be so black with different lighting, with different warmth. The interesting thing about Ethiopia is there's a lot of this orange kind of warmness to the skies around sunset, and to me, I think without that tone, you don't get nearly as much feel to it. So for that reason, I find that I'm usually going out later in the day, early evening, or early mornings. What about you, Matt?
I go out at all. I was trying to pull up an image here. I go out at all different times of day. So there's a trade-off when you travel, and that is you're probably on vacation, and you want to make great photos, but you want to be with your family, and all those different things. So I went to I had the chance to go to Hawaii a month ago in July. And so what I found myself doing is I was waking up every morning to go shoot sunrise, because the landscape photographer in me has to get up and go shoot sunrise.
Yeah.
But what I found was I was getting really tired, and it was kind of affecting the vacation. Because it's like, I'd get back and I'd be ready for a nap, and I'd come back and everybody's ready to go.
Mm.
And so you have to be careful of that. And when you're traveling, you might not be in a place at sunrise or sunset. So you almost have to also try to think of a way to make pictures outside of the golden hours. You might be taking a tour, maybe you go on a cruise, whatever it happens to be, but you might not be there, I think, a lot of times at sunrise or sunset. So you kind of just have to go with the flow. So I think a lot of it is also setting your expectations, because I've been there where the vacation was starting to stress from me trying to get out at sunrise and sunset.
Your nasty photography habit.
Yeah, and pushing things to try to get there, and then you kind of ruin the experience, because now you might have missed something or whatever it happens to be because you tried to get out there at sunrise or sunset. So I obviously I love to get out at sunrise or sunset, but I think I've got lots of pictures that I've taken outside of those times that I'm just as happy with. I think you'll find tighter shots. If you can get out at sunrise or sunset, bring in the scenery, bring in a lot of things that show that it's sunrise or sunset. And then if you're out there in the middle of the day, then maybe go in tighter on a couple of things that are a little bit more maybe quaint to whatever area you happen to be in.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing too is, I realize that like when we're talking about photographing and earlier or later, that is when you're caring about a sky and optimal lighting and this and that. There's a lot of other reasons that's not as much a significant factor. Like here's an image. Can you see this? This is shot. You can see the way the sun's hitting. That this is shot during a kind of a sharper time of the day. Did this come up okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. This is in London, and obviously you can see the way the sun's coming in. It doesn't really matter so much that it has to be one or the other, because that's not really the point of the image.
It's not the point of the photo.
Yeah. So much of this has to do with the architecture and the leading lines and the curves and the way it's kind of all put together. You would have maybe even lost something if you shot at a brighter time, because obviously those clouds can be pretty significant. And can really add to the feel of an image and the mood as well.
Hey, so can I show an example of something else too?
Absolutely.
We're talking weather and stuff.
Yeah.
And, also don't let the rain stop you.
Mm-hmm.
So the photo I'm about to bring up, I'll preface this by saying I almost didn't go because it was raining.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. So let me see if I can figure it out.
Oh, you're building suspense.
Here we go. Can you see anything?
Not yet. Oh yeah, I just saw this on your Facebook page yesterday.
So.
Yeah, right. You almost didn't go because it was raining.
Yeah, I mean that's in Paris, and I almost didn't go to this area because it was raining. Yeah. And the rain on the cobblestone streets is what makes part of the photo.
Yeah, the lighting and everything. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, it's and here's another one. There's that bridge from, what's that movie, Inception?
I love that movie. Mm-hmm.
So, but here's that bridge again. I mean, you got a reflection of the Eiffel Tower, and it's just like I almost didn't go out because it was raining, and these ended up being some of my favorite photos from the trip. Yeah,
exactly, because it really adds to mood and feel. And okay, so I got one too. This is so exciting. This, I guess, is the point of this whole. So on this, you talk about the Eiffel Tower. So is this on? Do you see this?
Yes.
All right. So this is the perfect example of where I don't have everything correct. As in this I shot without a tripod, which I would normally never try to do because it was pitch black. This is the light show that they do on the Eiffel Tower at 11 and midnight, I believe, something like that. And I found out after posting this, Matt, you may already know this, that it's actually against copyright to show the light show. Did you know that?
Because I ran into this years ago when I was there. There's some. You're okay.
Well, so we contacted my marketing manager. She actually contacted the Eiffel Tower and asked if we could, what the deal was, and they said as long as if you show it like with print and stuff like that, that you have these wording on the bottom, and they sent us the wording, then I'm trying to think if it's on this one. Oh yeah, there it is. Do you see that?
I see words.
Wording right there. RFL. This is a whole thing that basically says that as long as I have this when I show it, then it's okay. Yeah. So. And I thought that was a good point, because oftentimes you'll hear something like that and then you just shut it down instead of taking the next step and saying, especially if you've worked hard for an image or you really like it, to contact, whatever the problematic issue might be and see if there is a workaround, which in this case there was. But this is a perfect example of, we were going to the Eiffel Tower at midnight. My preteen daughter was next to us, going literally like, I'm so beautiful, I'm going to cry, because basically the Eiffel Tower is bedazzled, right? Like it's like a dream for a preteen girl. But I didn't want to go out, back to your point about, vacation, I didn't want to bring a whole tripod and set it all up and this and that. I wanted to like lay in the grass and have an experience. So in this case, I'm literally laying on my back and not breathing and taking the shot at night, and I took about 12 of them, and this one I like the feel of it. But this would be a different image on a tripod. I don't know if I'd even like it as much. That's kind of going back to that idea of bringing all the gear and also kind of using more creative license.
And you know what? With the high ISO cameras that you can push the cameras to these days, you can get away with it.
Oh yeah, it's pretty crazy.
You know what? People don't notice grain.
Yeah, or there's such amazing software now.
Yeah.
That you can manage grain a lot.
But I have to laugh about the whole light thing on there because when I posted pictures of it too, everybody said you're not allowed to do it. Do you know how many thousands upon tens of thousands of people were right next to me taking pictures?
Yeah.
How many of those thousands upon thousands of photos probably ended up on Facebook and every other place? I mean, I was under the impression you can't sell it. You can't benefit commercially from the photo.
Yeah.
You're allowed to take the picture and post it because, like I said, you're in the minority. You were surrounded by thousands of people. I'm guessing they had cameras pointed up taking pictures.
Right, exactly.
And they probably didn't contact the Eiffel Tower to say, hey, what do I have to do to post this?
Well, interestingly, when we were in Ethiopia, we visited an orphanage that we had just an amazing experience at, and I'm taking all these photographs, and I have a number of others, and so I had made the decision that I want to put them all together and have 100% of proceeds from the sale go to this orphanage, and I'm in the process of putting them all together now. But so that was a reason we wanted to contact them to say, hey, is this even going to be a possibility? Because I don't know that I would have otherwise.
Yeah.
But it just struck me that there's a lot of people getting knocked down because they feel like they can't show or share something, and often there is a workaround available to you.
Cool.
All right, Lauren, how are we doing?
Good. You ready for the next question?
We are nailing them, are we not, Matt?
We are.
All right. From Terry, what are your thoughts on using filters for photos of fall colors?
What are your thoughts?
Filter, like glass filters in front of the camera or filters in Photoshop and Lightroom?
I'm assuming physical on the camera.
So if we're talking fall colors, I'm thinking like changing colors of leaves and all that stuff. So I absolutely would always have a polarizing filter on to get rid of the glare and to boost the color a little bit.
Absolutely, always.
Absolutely. I mean, I was in Colorado during the changing of the leaves last fall, and I don't think the polarizer ever came off. So
interesting. So what is your thought with that? Because do you ever feel like, gosh, I'm putting a $100 filter in front of a $3,000 lens glass? I mean, does that ever bug you, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I don't. I guess I wouldn't put them unnecessarily on there. I buy good filters. Like I bought a B&W polarizer 8 years ago, and it sucked to buy it because it was like $160.
Yeah.
But I still have it today.
Yeah.
And B&W's really, it's their B plus W. They're probably one of the best brands out there for it. So I think they're made well. I think that's what they're there for. I don't know that you're necessarily, when you buy a lens that costs $3,000, I don't know that you're necessarily paying that $3,000 for that piece of glass.
No, that's it. It's just
front of the lens.
That's it. It's like 86 cents.
All the mechanisms in it only cost $1.
Yeah, those are really cheap. You can get those in a Lego store.
So and like what that gentleman said, fall colors, a polarizing filter will help. It'll remove glare, which you can't remove in Photoshop and Lightroom later. There's certain warming filter I'd never bother with. Graduated neutral density filters I'd never bother with again. The UV filters never ever bother with again. But a polarizing filter, for what he said, will actually make the photos better.
Yeah, and so there are very few times where I want to put a filter on, like very few times. But the polarizing filter is the one where, especially if you're somewhere where it's kind of it's not like cool foggy, it's just muggy, Yeah. It's moisture in the air, and you know that you could cut through that and have and so in those cases it's a really helpful thing to have. I shot a 4-day wedding in Kona, and that was one of the few times where I had it on a lot, just because there was a lot of moisture in the air, and it made a huge difference to the water and stuff. But most of the time, I'm all that money is right there on that glass.
But to remove glare, that's the main reason. A lot of people think polarizers for the sky. Even the sky, it'll boost the clouds a little bit if you have a cloudy sky. But glare is really the number one thing that you're looking to remove that you can't remove in Photoshop later.
Yeah, good point. All right. think we just nailed that question, too.
Bam.
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 Next.
Next. Okay. From Raph. Hi, Tamara and Matt. I'm hiking up to the Swiss Alps in a few weeks to do some mountain landscape shots. We will be camping for 2 nights around 9,000 feet. Do you have any tips on keeping my gear working properly? It's freezing cold up there.
Oh, can we start by saying how jealous we are?
I was just gonna say. So, do you need a camping partner?
Oh, come on. We'll sing at night.
Yeah. You want me to start or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Your
eyes look alive with answering.
I mean, I would say I'd say other than the usual, which is keep your batteries warm. So what a lot of people do, they'll put their batteries into their pockets. So you obviously bring extra batteries. The cold weather will eat through them faster, so bring extra batteries. When you have your extras ready, keep them in your pocket to keep them warm. And then a lot of times you can, when you switch out batteries, like if one dies and you put that into your pocket, it'll actually still have juice left as it gets warm, and you can put it back in and still use it later. But if you're going to be camping out there, the other thing that I would say is, and I've been burned by this so many times, is acclimating your gear. But you're going to be camping out there, so you're probably not going to have to worry about it. I would say, like, if you're in a hotel room, like, I've been in a hotel room and then come out, and whether it was cold going into the heat or, whether it was heat going outside into the cold, where your gear fogs up.
Mm.
And there is no fix for it other than to sit there for about 45 minutes while it unfogs. And while you watch the beautiful scenery unfold in front of you, not that it's ever happened to me, to know that you are sitting there with a foggy camera, because it's the inside elements, not just the front of the lens. But if you're camping out there, it'll probably be acclimated, so I don't think you have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, I have that a lot on beach shoots. Like, I'll come from air conditioning, and then you go out, and it's like, oh.
Has it ever, like, killed you on a shoot? Like,
it has, because especially when you're photographing children, like, the moods are tempered. You've got to really get them while they're hot, and if they're running around doing something adorable, you're like, stop it, and wait for everything to get back to normal.
You're gonna call the soft focus.
Yeah, everything's soft, wet focus.
Other than we're incredibly jealous of you, because I would love to go on that trip.
I would too. The other suggestions, in addition to Matt's fabulosity, there is think about, again, depending on the elements outside, you can also get some sort of, I know the think tank and a few other things have hoods or bags or protective things. I know there's some that have some sort of insulation as well. And I've actually never shot with those, so I don't know that firsthand, but I do know that's out there. And I'm guessing you could find it on Adorama.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. So those kind of things. And then the other thing, I remember I was shooting once for Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Remember that show? We were outdoors all day, and it was just crazy, freezing rain. And so I had a hood over it, but I also got those little warmies, those ones that you can break for camping.
Yeah.
And I kept them just up against my camera as well, just to be extra safe. So that's another option if it's really cold, too.
And have fun.
Send
those pictures.
I just got back. Oh, gosh, I should. This is a really good transition, because you were saying Switzerland, right?
Swiss Alps, yeah.
Yep, Swiss Alps.
Swiss Alps. So I just got back from Interlaken, and I shared this on social media, but this is honestly probably my favorite travel/landscape photograph that I've ever shot, ever. Like, I love this. And I was in Interlaken. We were climbing up in the Jungfrau region, and we'd hiked and come to the summit being in quotes because we had 3 kids with us. The first summit, and came back down, and a storm started rolling in right while the sun was dropping, and it was one of those moments that it's funny, Matt, because you just posted this the other day, that one of the best secrets to travel photography is get to good places, right? Yeah. This was one of those moments where I was thrilled that I had the technical know-how, and I knew what settings I wanted to get, and I knew what vantage point to get to, and that was all great. But the truth is, the amazing shot was due to the fact that I happened to be where something amazing was happening. Like that's truly it.
Oh yeah.
And so this was the photograph that I shot. This was in, I'm trying to think, there's that glacier right there. Why can't I think of the name of the glacier? But there's a glacier right up here.
The cold one.
The really cold one that has ice on it?
Yeah.
That one. Here we go. Look at me, I'm
suspense, I'm dying to see this now.
I know, right? Here it is. Okay, this is it.
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Oh, wow.
So this is honestly my favorite photograph I've ever shot while traveling.
And the storm, like, totally makes it. Oh, you can see all the light back there and everything.
It was so incredible. So it was coming in. It wasn't to me yet, but you could see it coming in. That sun was just coming down, which you can see hints of on the water. And it was just an amazing moment that I got to be there for and could shoot. But yeah, I joke that like literally when I clicked the shutter on this, it was one of those involuntary whimpers. You just know, like I didn't click a ton. Like I just knew that was the one. And
yeah.
Yeah, I'm very. I love this. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I said I fell in love with travel photography. I just didn't have this kind of connection to it before, and I was so just up and down, inside and out, just thrilled. And that's a cool thing to experience.
Yeah.
Anywhere in life, but certainly to have it tie into photography, which I've been doing professionally for a dozen years anyway, was just a cool experience as a human.
Look at you.
Look at me being human.
Tamara Lackey, landscape photographer.
Boom. Go. So we're jealous. We want to go. I want to go back to there. I miss it. All right.
Next up.
Oh, before I forget, I had a question come in. So yesterday, we're in the middle of this 3-day Adorama event. So yesterday, I was manning the Facebook page for Adorama and answering, I think, what did we say, Lauren and Danielle? How many questions, how many responses were in the first 4 hours? It was nutty. Like,
yeah, it was a lot, maybe around 50 or so came in pretty quick.
Yeah, like right away. It's funny because when you go to the Adorama page and you look at it, my friend was like, there's only 2 comments there. I'm like, no, you got to click and then click open the responses. But the one of the questions I had somewhere yesterday was the question about blue skies. How do you photograph blue skies and get them in camera? And I said, never fear.
And snow and whites, like there was a lot of snow, I think he said.
Was there? I sent you the picture, or I sent you the message.
Yeah, here I'm gonna, and I sent you a message that said, "Remind me to remind you."
I said, "Remind me, we've got to talk about this," and you sent it back, "Remind me." But we remembered.
Hold on, I'm looking. I delete all messages from you, so it's hard.
Liar! You keep them in a separate box and you frame them on your wall. Tamara's communications to me.
Oh God, where'd it go? Crap.
I know where we can find it, but I remember I thought it was just about how do you get blue skies in a photograph, which I've been asked a lot before. I'm sure you have.
Oh, there was snow. I'm telling you, there was snow. Snow. How
about we answer it both ways so we make we split the difference?
Okay. Yeah, we're making this too hard.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm here in North Carolina and you're in Florida, so we both are blessed with a lot of blue skies, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for. Well, Clearwater, I know, had a ton of blue skies. That's kind of where you are, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty today.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? There's a storm out there, so it's like sucking away all the bad air and leaves us with actually nice weather.
Your own little kind of recycling system out there.
It is. I guess there's a hurricane out in the Atlantic.
Oh, creepy. Yeah.
Probably coming toward North Carolina.
I know.
You're like the barrier island for the United States.
It's funny because it's either hitting you or us. Like we're the 2 main ones that get hit. So we get the blue skies and then we get the hurricanes. But yeah, I mean Carolina blue. That's the big thing here. UNC is Carolina blue colors and everything. But all that being said, a lot of times people ask how do I make my sky more blue, and they'll show me a photograph, and I'm like, it looks like it was a gray day.
A gray day, yes.
Isn't it amazing how often that happens?
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know how to get a blue sky on a gray day in camera. I could do it in post-processing, but I don't know.
I found the message too, by the way.
Okay, what is it?
This is from Nessa.
Nessa?
And Nessa says, how do I get a blue sky and the person... Oh, you're right. I don't know where I came up with snow. How do I get a blue sky and the person in focus? Usually if the person is in focus, the sky is blown up. I'm thinking they mean blown out because
that's a whole different...
If the sky was blown up, we'd have some big problems.
Yeah. Well, that I do that a lot. Not blow up the sky, but I do a lot of photographing portraits, and you want a blue sky at the same time. How do you do that? And I know exactly the problem that Nessa is experiencing. So the big key right there is work your fill light. Make sure that you are more exposing for the sky, and then you're filling in either with fill flash or reflector. I love reflectors, so that you are able to get that blue sky and get your subject in focus and well exposed. That's the big miss often there, is that someone's not using fill light and you're kind of exposing for one or the other.
And I would tag on to that and just say, if you're out there and you're somewhere and you forgot a fill light, you forgot a reflector, you forgot a flash, whatever it happens to be, and you just don't have one, what I would say is make sure the person looks good. That's first and foremost in the photo. Is make sure that
a portrait, unless they've wandered into your landscape.
Yeah. But make sure the person is exposed well, and then you'd be amazed inside of Photoshop and Lightroom how much you can pull back on the sky. A lot of people don't know, so there's more information in the bright parts of the photo, so you've got a lot of leeway in the sky. You don't want to have to do that all the time because it takes extra work, but if you're stuck with that situation, just kind of remember you can pull it back a little bit too.
Yeah, and the other hint about being able to have as much information as possible, but also to be able to get a bluer sky is I find shooting with a narrow aperture will make a difference too. Because a lot of times people will shoot at 1.8 or something, and if you've got that and a lighter sky and no fill light, that's just extraordinarily challenging. So shooting at a narrower aperture will make a difference there. And the other thing too is if you're looking at a sky and you've got a person and you're trying to figure out where to place them, often looking for the deepest blue in the sky. Because a lot of times you look up at the sky and you've ever had those skies where you look up and it's really light over there and it's really dark over there, or it's just there's a gradual. And often that means shooting away from the sun sometimes.
Don't blow up the sky.
And don't blow up the sky, because that's just dangerous. That's a dangerous thing. Yeah, so those are gosh, six good ways to get blue skies. And then if none of those works, as Matt said, follow along with his Lightroom tutorials, and I'll show you what to do. You've probably done that, right? You've probably shown how to drop in a blue sky when there's no blue at all, right? Because you can also do that outside of pulling the information.
Well, it never looks... I'll replace a sky if it's just a blue sky and I want a prettier sky, like with clouds. But if it's a blah sky, it's hard to ever put color in there and make it look good.
Yeah, and again, back to the idea of clouds. I know a lot of people comment like, "Oh, I wanted those, one of those." There's so much incredible. I think clouds make a sky often. Sometimes some of the coolest parts, and so I think a lot of people are looking for these. Here I've got this one. We just showed this. What were you gonna say while I'm pulling this up?
I was gonna say so. I don't know that if anybody even cares about this, but just an interesting transition that I found over the years, and I guess I've noticed it in other photographers too, is when you first start shooting outdoors, you think a blue sky clear day is what you want. Right. And as I've progressed over the years, like what's happened is I want storms. Like I don't want gray cloudy day. I don't want crisp blue sky. I want the stuff that's in the middle. Yeah. I want partly to mostly cloudy. I want just a freaking epic storm to be rolling through to give the photo that you got there. Mm. The photo that you had that you just showed would never be as impactful if it was just a clear sky. Yeah. If it was just a clear blue sky. What makes that photo? There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of drama that's brought in by that. Exactly. Yeah. So this, along those same lines, we just went through this yesterday on the Facebook page, but
This was shot. This is the London Eye, shot from St. James Park. Same thing. The clouds. I added a little tonality to this, but the clouds, I think, especially the reflection in the water.
Yeah.
This is just not the same shot with the bright blue sky.
Nope.
It's not at all. Now, I made a joke on that when I was explaining this photograph that this was shot right near Buckingham Palace, and that in the up lower left-hand corner, that's a royal duck. And I think people took that seriously. I was like, oh, this is a joke. It's a royal duck.
All right, can I show a cloudy sky picture?
Yes.
Too? All right. So this was one of those times where just being in the right place at the right time.
Those are the best times. Clouds, gorgeous.
So this would have never been half the shot that it was with a blue sky, because now it's like all that dappled light all over the trees.
Yes, so cool.
And on the mountain here, like I love mountains with just partial light on them.
Yeah, and it's a little ominous, which is again compelling, which is intriguing.
So.
Hey, so tell me your settings for this shot. I'm curious. I've gotten in a couple recent. I was sharing some of the settings for my landscape shots the other day, and somebody says, "No, I think you're only supposed to shoot landscapes at only f11."
You gotta love those. Anytime anybody says you only ever do this.
Isn't that interesting? Like I think people learn it one way and feel like that's the end all be all.
I can tell you I keep it pretty simple. So I kind of have two general rules. A shot like this, so I was up on a hill that was a decent distance away from this. Mm-hmm. So I had a 70 to 200 on, and I was probably 70, 80, 90 millimeter, something like that. So zoomed in. When there's no foreground, I'll shoot at f8. If there is foreground, I'll usually shoot at f16.
Oh, so you're pretty like that or that?
Yeah, I mean it's just because after that it's like it's almost impossible to really like. Are you gonna get out your hyperfocal distance calculators and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Are you really gonna do that? And if you are, I guarantee you're missing something that's going on in front of you.
Your abacus out. That's important.
Yeah. So f8, because when you're zoomed in and you don't have a foreground object, at f8 all this is going to be in focus.
Right.
You're not going to have to worry about focusing on one thing and something behind it going to be out of focus, because this is so far away from me that it's all in focus. If I have something that's within 10 feet in front of me and I want to like there's a rock in the water and there's a glassy lake and there's a big mountain in the back. If I have something like that, then I'll usually focus on whatever's close to me, and I'll shoot it at f16, and everything else is going to be, sharp enough.
Right. And the other thing too is if you want to go narrower than that, because creatively you're looking for maybe a softer feel to the image, that's an option too, which I think sometimes people forget about or just think is not an option. You can never go past f16 or something.
Yeah.
It's actually more numbers.
F22 is really where most of the language.
Yeah. Yeah. But the other thing, somebody else asked me this. I just had another question I said that we answer today was about shooting to infinity, not understanding that term. So have you ever heard that term? Shoot to infinity. It sounds like Buzz Lightyear, doesn't it?
Cut out on me.
Oh, no. Wait. Oh, and I'm also still not there, am I?
No, you're not there.
You can't even see my awkward voice not matching my face. Is it gone? Am I gone?
Yeah, you don't sound like Darth Vader anymore.
So somebody asked the other day about the term shooting to infinity. Am I cutting out?
You're cutting out. Something about infinity, I heard. I'm guessing they didn't know what infinity was on the lens.
Yes. Now you're all disconnected.
See, it's you.
This might be Google's way of telling us we're almost done.
Anyway, I mean, infinity is kind of I don't even know if they can hear us anymore, but I mean, infinity is kind of that point where everything is going to be pretty much
I can hear you.
Equally in focus. You're not. it's not focusing 5 feet in front of you, 10 feet in front of you. It's infinity.
But it's not actually. But oh man, we're cutting out. Stop it. But just to make sure, if you can, anybody can still hear me. It's not actually something you're looking for written on your lens.
Correct. Yeah. Although it is like, and on the numbers, it's that little figure 8 thing, like and on your focus ring, right? We'll have to talk in sign language. But as a good example, the shot that I just showed with the.
Lauren, can you hear us?
I can see. It's working sometimes for you, but sometimes you just sound like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am your father. The shot that I showed before with the trees in the mountain, that's probably infinity. It's not really focusing on anything that's 5, 10, 15 feet in front of me, and the lens is not going to say, okay, I'm focusing 750 feet in front of you. So it'd be at infinity most likely. Yes.
So funny. You still look like you're talking, but you're done.
I'm not going to talk anymore.
So awkward. Laura, do you have anything that you want to make sure we add in here?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to announce
we could do a speed round of questions.
We could do a speed round, but Tamara's not exactly operating correctly. I mean, I can wrap it up. We're doing a low pro backpack giveaway to end this, and we could wrap it up with the winner.
What'd you say? I'm a winner?
Am I cutting out too now?
No, I was just saying that for funniness.
Haha.
Now, see, I feel like I'm in sync with you, and we're communicating, and Matt's off.
I'm fine.
Oh, really? See, Matt's more on than you are for me.
Okay, let's make a winner happen.
Let's do a winner. Let's do it. Okay, so the winner of the Low Pro Flip Side Sport Backpack is Jonathan Haber. Woo!
Hey, Jonathan!
Jonathan.
It's Ruth.
So, Jonathan, if you just want to email facebook@adorama.com to claim your prize, please go ahead and email facebook@adorama.com. And that's it.
Okay. And thank you, Matt, for joining us today.
Thank you, Darth. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed.